Years and years ago, when Earl and I were both little kids, at least we think we were, I think I probably first met Earl, really met Earl at an arranger seminar in Kenosha, Wisconsin, probably 20-some years ago. And we did a few of those arranger seminars. This was even before the arrangement category revision came along and we got the new fellows into the arrangement category. But that's, I think, when I first met Earl, was probably in the 1960s at one of those arranger seminars. Earl, a couple of things that impress me about Earl, of course, are his endless list of tags that he knows and teaches, and he's, of course, always writing new ones as well. And his willingness always to help other people, other arrangers, other barber shoppers, in whatever way he possibly can. And particularly with fellows who are interested in arranging. He'll spend hours helping a fellow work on an arrangement, explaining what the arrangement style is about, what the barbershop style is about. He's extremely patient and very generous with his time in that regard. One of the most helpful people there is in the society. I really believe that. And I'm sure that anybody viewing this particular video would agree with that. Whether you've been a chapter member or not, or just a friend of Earl's, you know that that's the kind of a fellow that Earl is, always willing to help out. Super guy.
Tell me about where you first met Earl Moon.
Earl Moon.
Yeah, you know, Moon. You don't remember Earl? Thanks, Eric.
In the 1950s, Larry, I was directing the Downey chapter from 1957, 58, 59, and that's about the time I met Earl. I think he took over Downey right after I moved back to Utah and directed them very successfully for a number of years. I remember he took them to International. So I would say it was the mid to late 50s when I first met Earl. One of my impressions of Earl initially was that he was a guy that was so enthused about the art of barbershopping and developing it as his craft and specialty. I remember one wonderful evening at Earl and Millie's house. He had an electric organ. I don't know whether he still has it, but I brought along some old sheet music, and he had some sheet music, and we sat there for hours playing through and singing through these old songs and contemplating how we would arrange them and put them down on paper. And then, of course, through the years, Earl had been in many quartets, and I was an active judge, and I judged a number of quartets that he sang with. And then from time to time, we would confer on arrangements. And I was also teaching for the Society back in the early 60s and throughout the 60s in a program called HEP, Harmony Education Program, and I think I met with Earl a few times at some of the HEP schools and discussing arrangements. Another thing that I've always admired about Earl is that Earl basically is a self-taught musician. Now, myself, I've had a lot of college training and a lot of graduate classes and so on, but Earl has sort of pulled himself up by his own bootstraps, and I don't mean that he hasn't, he might have had some formal training at community colleges or something, I don't know, but I just always admired Earl, and he has really developed a wonderful barbershop background through the years, schooling himself in theory and harmony and some of the other intricacies of barbershop. Oh, I've had a lot of wonderful memories of Earl. Woodshedding Give Me a Night in June, many, many times. That has become sort of a Harmony College standby with us. And looking forward at the district and international prelims to hear what quartet Earl is going to be in this year and what songs they're going to sing, including Shine on Me, Earl. And of course, Millie has always stood faithfully by his side through the years, encouraging him in his hobby. But I take great pride in Earl's successes. Not that I contributed much to them, but I really enjoyed watching him succeed and progress through the years as a wonderful barbershopper and a developer of men and musical talents.
Surely after so many years of knowing Moon, you must have some impressions.
Knowing
Or Earl Moon?
Moon?
You know,
Earl Moon?
director, arranger,
Moon?
lives in California,
Never
has
heard
a
of
wife
him.
named Millie.
Never heard of him.
You don't know him?
Don't know him.
Surely after so many years at Harmony College, Earl has had to have made some contributions to the society in Harmony College. Can you think of some of them?
Earl?
Earl, E-A-R-L M-O-O-N. Has E Squared Moon on some of his arrangements?
Never heard of him.
Arranger. Never heard.
I
didn't know anything about Val Hicks not going back to Harmony College. Bert Zabel doesn't either. I think Zabel's a better arranger than Moon, don't you think
I'm
so?
leaving, man.
I don't think it's a good idea. Where'd he go? Oh, he went this way. In 1970 was living in Texas, and late in the year moved to Southern California to Newport Beach. I'd belonged to the society for a year, but had been barbershop in high school and college about 6 years before that. Anyhow, so I got out into the greater LA area, and one of the largest barbershop figures out there was Earl. And I couldn't really pinpoint the exact first time, but you know, contests, conventions, shows, just seeing him around, and we both loved woodsheding and tags, and Earl and I just took to each other right away. Maybe he took more to me, I don't know, but I had long hair at the time. Mm-hmm. I remember. And a lot of guys were standoffish.
Yeah.
Just the fact of the barbershop brotherhood broke down some of it, but a lot of guys were sort of standoffish. But Earl just right away, you know, just sort of took me under his wing.
Gotcha,
and,
toupee.
and it was, you know, he was great from the start.
Like impressions or feelings about working with Moon through the years at Harmony College?
Just first thing that comes to mind is Earl's natural wisdom about things. He just seemed to be able to cut through a bunch of different opinions and come to a very simple and wise point of view about, you know, anything, life, or in the arrangement category discussions where everybody has different opinions and we're flying all over the place. Earl could just, you know, be quiet most of the time and say something that was just right on and put things in perspective. So that's one thing I associate with Earl.
Any other memories that stand out concerning working with him in terms of Harmony College?
Well, you know, of course, seeing him around with Lou Perry, it was,
Yeah.
I often, in the last few years, ended up in the same suite as them, and just watching the two of them and their ease getting along with each other and their love for each other, that was nice. You know, a memory I have, this isn't Harmony College, this is back to the early 70s,
Yeah.
but I was in a competing quartet, originally called the Local Gentry, and we had to change it to Return Engagement. But anyhow, one of my earliest contests, and I was nervous and up on the stage, and you know, everybody in the audience looked like an ogres, and at one point I dared to look down at the judging panel, and here's Earl just looking up at me and smiling like life is good, and my body relaxed about 500%, you know, and I sang better, and And I want Earl and everybody to know that I have now for 11 years been very conscientious in the pit of passing that on. And I'll often look up at competitors and smile at them. And I know they see me. Some of them tell me about it afterwards. Some of them don't. But that comes from Earl doing that for me, and sometimes I indeed mention that explicitly to the competitors, that they have got a, sort of one cushion bank gift from Earl Moon.
Years from now, Eric, what will Earl Moon be remembered for by the society?
I think this is something I do want to talk about,
Okay.
Larry.
Huh.
It seems to me that it's...
Hey, bring it back, Gail. Gail, he's not finished yet.
Earl Moon, boy, where do you start with a guy like Earl? I think some of the most happy experiences of my life have been singing with Earl Moon, teaching me some tags. You know, Earl, he had the opportunity of growing up with Old Time Barbershop and seeing it come along, and Earl is truly one of the few men that we would really call harmony men. He's a harmony man par excellence, and I look forward to every moment that I can spend with him teaching me some of the chord moves and the tags and telling me about barbershop. He's been one of the most influential people in my life and in my enjoyment of barbershop harmony. And I just regret that I wasn't able to meet Earl sooner. It was in the 70s that I got to meet Earl. Why couldn't it have been the 50s? You know, I feel like some of my life has been wasted not having the opportunity to sing with him and listen to him talk and talk about all the great things about barbershop. It's nice to be part of Earl's family, the barbershop family, and I hope he lives forever.
I'm not going to add anything to that. That's neat stuff. That's fine.
Wonderful.
Gee, I mean, would you like to rehearse it again?
Oh, yeah, let's turn on the camera.
Yeah, right.